He is a hitter that doesn't blink, doesn't chase, and doesn't care if you're throwing 99. He cares about barreling up 1-2 fastballs and bleeding your bullpen dry. Jeff McNeil is here with us today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the country. I am your host, Booney, lifelong A's fan, and your daily source for in-depth analysis, roster breakdowns, and unfiltered takes you will not get anywhere else. Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team, your A's, every single day. And today on Locked On A's, I am fired up because we have a massive guest, Jeff McNeil, two-time All-Star, batting champ, and now the newest addition to an A's lineup that just got a whole lot tougher to deal with. I have said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Baseball loves the loud move, the headline signing, the viral clip that disappears by dinner. And the A's didn't play that game. They did something smarter. They went out and got themselves a hitter who ruins pitching plans, who drags at bats into deep water, who forces teams to earn every single out. Jeff McNeil is not a highlight reel. Jeff McNeil is a problem, and problems win baseball games. This isn't about filling a spot. It's about setting a tone. McNeil brings contact in a league drunk on launch angle, versatility in a sport that chews up one-trick players, and that edge you only notice when the scoreboard says it's already too late. This move gives the A's lineup credibility, and it gives their clubhouse control. Today's show is a deep dive into who Jeff McNeil really is, from almost turning pro in golf to grinding his way into one of the best hitters in baseball. Why his arrival signals more than just a trade, and why the rest of the league just got a little more uncomfortable. Before we get to that version of Jeff McNeil, you know, the two-time All-Star, the batting champ, the tone setter, now in green and gold, we wanted to rewind the clock a bit to the fork in the road. 2009 U.S. Junior Amateur Golf Tournament at Trump National in New Jersey. Three-time major winner Jordan Spieth ended up winning that golf tournament, but Jeff McNeil, one of the best amateur golfers in the world, qualified for the U.S. Amateurs and started out the tournament rather nice. 74 in the first round. 79 advances him to the match play portion of the tournament, and an 80 gets him to a playoff. Instead, McNeil cards an 89. So before everything else took off, I asked him, do you remember that round? And if you had advanced in the tournament, would baseball have ever happened? Jeff, 2009 U.S. Amateur Trump National Club in New Jersey. Most people didn't know you were one of the better amateur golfers in the country. Probably most other people didn't know Jordan Spieth ended up winning that tournament. Three-time major winner. And for those that don't know how amateur tournaments work, you have 2 rounds of stroke play. And if you advance through the stroke play, you get to the match play round, which crowns a champion. You card a 74 in your first round. Come back in the second round with an 89. What happened that round? Was the conditions miserable? You just didn't have it that day? Or walk us through that round.
Yeah, so I remember second round. I mean, I played great the first day. Was in a great spot to make match play. And, yeah, I remember just walking to the tee box, and it was pouring rain. I don't know how we're going to play this, but it was pouring rain. Remember teeing off on the first hole. I think I put in the bunker, ended up making a double, so didn't get off to a great start. And I just remember finding the fairway on the second hole, and the whole fairway was underwater. The whole fairway was underwater. I remember talking to an official. I go, where do I drop my ball? And he goes, I don't know. I go, what are we doing? and we were just playing it. We were playing in slop. It was kind of miserable, but the rain ended up stopping about 9-10 o'clock. When I was on my back nine, and it was already too late. I already fell apart. So it was just round of golf, but I did think it it steered me in the way of baseball, and I think it was a blessing.
Absolutely, no question about it. Do you think if you play better that round, if you advance, let's say to the match play, you do not pursue baseball?
Absolutely.
Really?
If I make match play there, I think I could walk on to some schools and maybe college scholarship. I think there would have been a little bit more interest.
Sure.
I was going into my senior year, and I feel like a lot of the coaches I was talking to, they were looking for juniors, sophomores, even like freshmen, like starting to recruit them. I was just a kind of a late bloomer in golf, so didn't really have the opportunity. A lot of those colleges already had their class coming in, their freshman class for the next year coming in. So could have maybe walked on, but I was trying to find some kind of scholarship, trying to find some way to get my schooling paid for, and then played bad, and was lucky enough to have a spot on a pretty good baseball team where I was able to get seen.
Absolutely. Hoops. You could score a little bit, 18 a game at old Napomo High School, I believe it was. Any schools looking at you in hoops? D2? No.
I think I might have had one D3 school come look at me, and I think I put up about 3 points that game. It was over.
I hear you. Now, the first time you played baseball was your senior year in high school. 446, 7 bombs, 13 doubles. Did it just kind of come natural to you? Were you surprised at the results, or was that something you were always playing the whole time?
It was something I was always doing. When I went to high school, it was baseball and golf in California are the same season, so it was pick one or the other. And I would have loved to do both, but just wasn't able to. So it was pick one or the other. I was a freshman at a brand new school in a brand new area, so didn't really know anyone. The first few people I met were golfers, and our golf team was extremely good. I was going to play on varsity as a freshman, so decided to do that. I think we had like 6 guys on our team who could, I feel like break 70, break par at any time. So it was just a lot of fun. But at the same time, I was still playing baseball. I'd still play, some on the summer team with the high school. I'd play with my brother. My brother was a big time baseball player, so he was a couple years younger than me. So that's one of the reasons I got so many opportunities, because he was so good. And when I didn't qualify for that junior amateur, I think my parents basically said, if my brother's on the team, you get me. And favor, and ended up playing for California Wahoos, and played well. The coach came up to me. He goes, "Hey, is there any chance you want to play college baseball?" I go, "Absolutely, let's do it." He goes, "I'm going to make a phone call and see if I can get someone to come look at you, and we'll go from there."
You originally committed to Northridge, right? Or did you commit to? Was Fresno looking at you as well?
They were. So what happened was my scout ball coach, he goes, "Hey, I got a guy from Northridge coming to look at you." Came to watch me on a Saturday. I played 2 games, played extremely well. I remember him calling me on Monday. He goes, "Hey, we want you to come check out the school. We'd love to offer you a scholarship." So remember, went to the school, checked it out, liked it, accepted the scholarship, and it was about a month before I was headed to school. The head coach ended up getting fired. The assistant coach who recruited me wasn't going to go back. So I was in a weird situation. He goes, he gave me some advice. He goes, "I think it's best if you, kind of decommit. I'm going to send you to he couldn't tell me what school it was. He goes, "I'm trying to get an assistant coaching job at another school. I want you to go with me."
Okay.
He goes, it's a big West school. It's a better school for you. I can't tell you what school it is, just all the rules and stuff. He goes, "But either way, if I get the job or not, I want you to go with me." I go, "Okay." So I decommitted, and it ended up being Long Beach State. So the coach at Long Beach, Troy Buckley, he honored that same scholarship I had at Northridge. But at the same time, Fresno kind of hopped in, and I was getting recruited there. So it was either between Fresno State or Long Beach. Ended up choosing Long Beach, but the head coach at Cal State Northridge ended up getting the assistant coaching job at Fresno State that same year, and then the assistant coach at Fresno who recruited me ended up getting the Northridge head coach. So they basically switched spots. So
Gotcha.
wherever I went, I was going to be, at least known by the coaches. But I feel like I went the right direction. I think Long Beach State was, the best spot for, my development. I feel like I really learned to play, the game of baseball there, and I love my time there. I met my wife there, so
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
It was a great situation, and
sure,
they had a great vision for me too. When I went there, they're like, "Hey, I know you're mostly a shortstop. They had some pretty good shortstops," and he goes, "We see you playing a lot of infield, but along as outfield too." So they kind of saw me being that utility player, which I really liked, and they started my freshman year in left field. So they gave me a great opportunity. I'm super happy I chose them. And
look, tax season doesn't have to feel like facing a 12-pitch at bat with runners on. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to hand it off and get back to your game plan. No guessing, no stress, just smooth professional execution, like turning two with Wilson at McNeil up the middle. With TurboTax full service, you've got a trusted local expert in your corner who handles everything start to finish. W-2s, 1099s, freelance income deductions you didn't even know you had. You can meet with them in person or connect online from your couch during the second inning. Don't waste hours Googling tax codes or deciphering boxes. Just upload your docs, hop on a quick call, and let them take it from there. Whether you are a full-time employee, self-employed, or juggling multiple gigs, TurboTax experts know how to find every deduction you deserve. You will get updates in the app, peace of mind in your head, and actual time back in your day. No more sacrificing weekends to IRS limbo. It's easy, it's efficient, and it's way better than doing it yourself with a box of receipts and blind hope. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you have not already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You will get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On A's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show, which you could find #LockedOn-A's. All of this at a cost of $4.99 a month, which is basically a cup of coffee a month, or $50 a year. Go to lockedona's.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. You know what's crazy? When I was looking at all this stuff, I didn't realize that at Long Beach in your whole college career, you never hit a home run, and your hitting style has always been like low strikeout, high contact. I mean, you're a throwback when you look at your baseball style compared to what we see today as throwing as hard as you can and hitting the ball as hard as you can. Where did you learn that approach over time, or who influenced that?
I probably learned it. I learned it, I think, when I was, super young. I think me and my brother used to play wiffle ball in the yard.
Yeah.
He was not striking me out. There was no. He ended up being a second rounder, I think, with the Cubs. So he's a good pitcher, and I just I never wanted him to strike me out. So
sure.
Yeah, I always, found a way to put the ball in play, and I think I remember, like, in Little League, like I tried not to strike out. I think I struck out maybe once or twice a year. It was very low. So I was never the biggest player on the field as well. So that was my game, was put the ball in play, run, make things happen.
You kind of played in two generations of baseball, and what I mean by that is one generation where it was like, hey, you hit for average, you get on base, you score runs. Now the baseball game has changed a lot, where it seems like, hey, people are throwing as hard as they can and they're swinging as hard as they can, and it's become a power game. What's your opinion and what's your view on what the baseball game has turned into now based on when you came into it?
Yeah, I think times are definitely changing. I feel like when I came in the league, pitchers weren't throwing quite as hard. It was a little bit more, locating that kind of stuff. But I feel like technology's changed so much since I've been in the league, or at least since I got drafted. I feel like we didn't really used to know why pitchers were so good. This guy's got invisible fastball. Like, why are you missing it?
Yeah.
And now we know, and I feel like they can kind of replicate that now. They have all the numbers, and pitchers are basically made in the lab, so it is tougher. I feel like all their pitches are elite. I feel like guys who get called up for the minor leagues, those are the guys you used to love to face, and now it's like, who's this guy and how he throws what? And
Yeah.
they're all throwing 100, so it's a lot different. But like, that's kind of for my hitting style. I did like to put the ball in play, but I feel like it's so hard to string together 3-4 hits nowadays with how good defense are. I feel like there's more athletes. How good pitching is, and so I think it's kind of turned into a little bit more of a power game.
Lamar Johnson, former hitting coordinator for the Mets, turned you on to a novelist bat. Can you walk us through, to those average viewers of baseball, how is a novelist bat an advantage for somebody like you? What's the upside to it? What's the downside to it?
Yeah, so I started using this bat, I think in 2015 or 16, somewhere.
Yep.
And I remember it was just when I put on a bunch of weight and strength, and I came into camp pretty strong, and I remember just being I think it was in the batting cage, and we're hitting off the machine, and Lamar had this bat that one of the other guys was using, and I'm like, let me see that thing, and it was a big 35-inch, 32-ounce like log, and I'm like, all right, let me try this thing. So I remember going into the cage, and the machine was set up pretty hard too, and I remember just like all you had to do was touch the ball. I felt like, so I was so good at that already. I could put the bat on the ball, and it had more weight behind it. It had a bigger barrel, so I felt like all I needed to do was touch it. And I think my first game, I ended up getting it was a spring training game. I think I got like 3 hits, and one of them was a home run. And
so it was immediate, huh?
For me, and I was like, dang, like that thing's really good. So like sneaky pop, all I had to do was touch the ball. So I ended up using that for a lot of years, and these last few years, the whole torpedo craze kind of came out. I started using that last year, but still didn't have a knob. But it was kind of funny when I started, or when the torpedo stuff came out last year. They're like, I ended up calling my bat company, and he goes, "Hey, that's really similar to what you use already, because you choke up on the bat. It kind of my bat was so it was like counterbalanced.
Sure.
I choked up on it, so." He goes, that allows you to have a bigger barrel than, a normal 33-inch bat. So you're kind of already doing it. We can make a few changes here and there, which we did. He's making even my barrel a little bit bigger, but ended up making it a little shorter. So I feel like I can swing it a little faster, but I still have that control and that pop when I do barrel one.
12th round pick, July 2018. Mets give you the call up. What was going through your mind that day? First game, I believe you got a hit the first pitch you saw. What was going through your head? Did you expect the call up to happen? Were you surprised? What was the journey like?
Yeah, I was, kind of expecting it, any time soon. When I was playing well, I know the Mets were struggling a bit, so I feel like I got called up into a pretty good situation. The Mets were kind of out of it, so when I did get the opportunity to go up there, I did get the opportunity to play every single day, which was nice. I remember when I got called up, they called me up at about, I think, like 5:00 at night or something. And I lived like 30 minutes from the stadium. So I had to drive to the stadium, pack all my stuff. I had to buy a suitcase, I think. I don't think I had a suitcase to travel with. So I had to run and grab that. And ended up missing my flight to the big leagues, which was tough.
Man, yeah.
I just didn't really have enough time to get everything done. So ended up making a flight like 30 minutes later. It was no big deal, but missed that, and then get to City Field, and I just remember seeing my parents. They came down.
That's awesome, man.
It was great. I called my wife
Yeah.
there. So everyone made the game, which is sweet. I didn't start. They were starting a lefty, so I didn't start. But I think my mom came down, and we were talking with the manager. The manager was there, right there, and I think it was Mickey Callow at the time. But my mom goes, "Don't swing at the first pitch." Oh,
Do you remember who you faced?
Sure, Mom. And they ended up leaving, and I remember just looking at him and go, "I'm swinging at the first pitch." He goes, "I expect you to." Like, I go, "Love it," and ended up getting that pinch hit in the 8th inning, and fastball right down the middle, and got my single.
Do you remember who you faced?
Bill Hughes.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill Hughes. I remember being on deck, and Nimmo was up, and if Nimmo didn't get on, there's 2 outs. If Nimmo didn't get on,
Oh no, yeah.
my at bat. So I'm like, "Come on, Nimmo." And I remember probably the most nervous I've ever been just walking to the plate, but it was pretty incredible. I walked to the plate. I felt like the fans embraced me, which was awesome. They knew I was playing well in the minor leagues, so when there was a cool little buzz in the stadium, and
that is awesome.
Stepping out and just kind of soaking it all in, enjoying it, and then said, "It's all right. It's go time."
Sure. You won the NL batting title in 2022. Obviously a career highlight. Looking back, was there something that just ticked, or was it just a constant gradual climb?
Don't think it was something that really clicked. I remember I struggled in 2021, and I remember going into 22. I feel like I was tinkering with my swing so much, and just kind of battling every single day. So I remember going into camp in 22, just going like, all right, I got to kind of just stick with one swing and just roll with it. So that's what I did the entire year. I feel like I swung the bat great. But at the same time, I think my batting average of balls in play was, I think, on an all-time high. I think it was like 350. So obviously, you got to get a little bit lucky to win a batting title, and because that's what, like, I feel like last year, I feel like I had a great year. And just looking at like all my peripheral numbers, they were all very similar to when I won a batting title. I think my expected batting average in 2025 was, I think at one point, it was up there right around 270 to 80, and I think when I won a batting title, it was like 281.
Jeez. Yeah, right. No, absolutely.
I feel like you got to get a little bit lucky. They used to shift me a little bit, and I could kind of poke it through the hole. So you get those free hits, but at the same time, you got to get a little lucky to have all those hits fall. And I was, but I feel like I was pretty consistent all year. I was hitting line drives, and one stat I really like is like launch angle sweet spot. Try to get 8 and 24 degrees as much as you can. I feel like when you're doing that, you're having success, and so that's what I strive for.
That's awesome, man. Now let's fast forward to present time. You get traded from the Mets to the A's, and obviously there must have been an initial shock. I believe you were on the golf course when you got the call. What was your initial reaction, and what about the A's roster excites you? You're going to Sacramento, playing in a minor league ballpark. What gets you motivated as far as going into this year?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a shock. Got traded on the 14th hole of a golf course, which is actually my hole today. It was a shock. So I remember getting that call, and hey, you're going to the A's. I'm all right, cool. And it was super exciting. I think it was, I spent my whole career in New York, so
Sure.
It was time for a kind of a fresh start, and new opportunity, and so many things about this A's team. They're so young. They match the ball. I think it's going to be a extremely good lineup, extremely deep lineup, and
Sure.
I'm just happy to kind of do my part. I feel like I'm going to play a lot of second base, but could move around the diamond a little bit. But they have so many good young players, and it's nice that they are starting to extend them, and they could see how they are a huge part of the A's future, and when they roll into Vegas, hopefully they're solid and really deep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jeff, you've been part of championship teams. Obviously, you've been part of disappointing teams. You've seen it all. Can you talk a little bit about culture, locker room, chemistry, togetherness, and for people that do not know, what's the difference between a team that has that chemistry and a team that does not have that chemistry or that togetherness?
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like, a team that wins, it's going to have a good chemistry. I feel like, winning is just a great culture, and that's where you want to be. And when you're winning every single day, it's fun to go to the ballpark. And then when things start to spiral, it's tough. It's tough to stay. Yeah, I feel like the good teams, especially like that 24 Mets team that we made the deep run was we had those guys to help keep us together. We had a lot of fun out there. It's great. And some of the bad teams, some people could say you have a bad culture just because you're not playing well.
Sure.
Last year, we nothing wrong in the locker room or anything like that, but it's just we got the injury bug, and I feel like a lot of the guys got along extremely well. And it's just when you win, times are good. When you lose, times are bad.
I get it, man. Jeff, man, to close, they have counted you out at every turn. Too raw, too late, too injured, too intense. But every time you've answered with contact, with grit, with fight. And this year's just another chapter, man. I'm rooting for you. I think you're going to have a huge, huge year. I'm looking forward to watching you play. I think you bring something to this A's roster that it badly needs. I've said it on many of occasions. You're not a highlight reel. You're a problem, and problems win baseball games. And I can't wait to watch you play. I want to thank you for your time today and coming on, and wish you nothing but the best this year, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It should be a great year. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On A's. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. live on YouTube on audio. The show should be up at around 10 a.m. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On A's so you get all the latest episodes. You can find Locked On A's on social media on X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Locked On A's. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On A's ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedona's.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB.